would have known that the Fortinet previously was giving the certifications with reference to NSE4, NSE7 in terms of the Fortigate firewall, right? So you have to get the certification of NSE4, which is just like a CCNA. NSE7 is just like the CCNP and the higher one. And in terms of the NSE8, there you need to have knowledge about 6 products of Fortinet. So Fortinet is the company under the banner of which there is several security devices, several network capable devices, which is designed in their banner, like FortiSwitch, FortiAuth, FortiAP, FortiAnalyzer, FortiManager, right? And in that list, one of the next gen firewall is FortiGate. Okay. Now, what they have done is now the certification, instead of giving an SE4 and 7, because 4 and 7 was also given for switches, okay, for SD-WAN devices and for different other products. So what they have done is they have segregated the certification based upon the domain. Now, when I say domain, see, when we say that, okay, hey, I am a network engineer, right? So now that's a very vast domain. It's a general statement when we say that we are working in the field of for network, because there are a lot of things inside that: cloud structure, hardware networks, right? So security is different. You like might be a switching engineer, might be a routing engineer, might be a firewall engineer, might be something of every devices, right? So based upon that, they have structured the certifications in order to uh, make a clear marking that if you say that, okay, hey, I am an FCP certified network security guy, or I am an FCP certified cloud security, right? So it means it is telling clearly that what is your primary skill set, right? So going with that, now the 3 certification name, what you're seeing on the screen right now with reference to the FCP in the 3 different domains. Now in that there is actually two examinations that you have to take part into. One is core examination, and the other one would be the optional one. It's like where you get an option to choose. Okay, so one of that core examination, core means mandatory. Okay, so you have to take two examinations. One is mandatory, and like the other one is optional. So you have 3, 4 options. One of that you can take it. Now, in that core, the core one is of the FortiGate firewall. So this is the topic. What you are seeing is related to the Fortigate firewall. Now here, if you will see, it is talking about that you should be aware about how to deploy the Fortigate firewall, how you can do the initial configurations. You should know about the basics of the Fortigate firewall, that what it is, the hardware structures and all. Okay, so that is what it is talking about, the concept of HAs, clusters and all. Okay, now it wants you to know about the way that the policy is maintained, managed, and where you will be using the policies inside the Fortigate firewall. How does the policy works? What all features and add-ons that you can apply onto the policies? That's why you're seeing policies and authentication in the same statement, right? So the nattings and all things will come into in play in here. Now, in terms of the inspection, it wants you to know that how does the firewall sees through the traffic. It's like, let's say, for example, uh, if I'm sending a traffic for Facebook, right? So how would the firewall know that it's a Facebook traffic, right? So if I'm trying to send a audio call through the Facebook Messenger application, right? So how would the firewall know by seeing the packets that, hey, this traffic is coming from the Facebook Messenger, right? So there's something which the firewall is trying to inspect. That means to look inside the packets, right? So it is looking something. What is that? Which is telling the firewall that, hey, this is so and so traffic, right? So these things will come into play when we will learn about the content inspection. If I put it in simple terms, it is wanting you to learn about the UTM features, Unified Threat Management, where we are going to cover the features like web filter, application control, DNS filter, IPS, antivirus, file filter. Okay, so these are the six, seven features what we are going to cover. Okay, now once we are done with that, then it also wants you to learn with reference to the routing. When I say routing, there are four things which will be primary focused with reference to routing. That is a static routes, PBR, policy based routing, your OSPF and BGP. So these things will be taken into account when we are going to cover the routing. And in terms of the VPN, we are going to cover the IPsec and the SSL VPN. When we say IPsec, I'm sorry, is there something? Okay, so in terms of the VPN, we are going to cover the IPsec and the SSL. Okay, so these two things will be covered. Now, now looking further, if you will see here, so it requires someone with a very minimal experience, right? This is
भाई
just,
भाई रिकॉर्डिंग आई
I'm sorry, what? Somewhat what?
No, no, so I think it's by mistake. Just asking for the recording.
Okay. Now, seen here. So okay. So like I was saying, so FCP requires you to have basic awareness of the network, basic knowledge. When I say basic means what? Basic means like if I say the word ARP, that okay, hey, an ARP will be raised to get a MAC address. So does that make sense to you? What is ARP? If I say 192.168.1.0/24, so does that make sense to you? What does that /24 stands for? That means 192.168.1.0 is the network ID. 192.168.1.255 is your broadcast ID. And whatever IP is in between that, that's your usable IP. Do you know about the subnets? If you know about this course is for you. Because anything that we will be starting is from the basics. Okay, so there is nothing like, for example, if you are someone who has no background of network security, doesn't matter. The only thing I am expecting is that you should be familiar with the network terms like IPs, MAC address, right? So if I say like I use the term ARP, right? So or if I say ping, so if these things are making sense to you, that is sufficient. Okay, and that's why you see that the certification itself requires you to have 0 to 1 years of experience, right? Zero means freshers. Okay, so if you are someone who just knows about the OSI model, this course is for you. That's it. Okay, now going further, now see, this is an FCSS certification. Okay, I would request everyone to be on mute unless you have a question. Okay, because some unwanted noises creates trouble. Thank you. Now, see here. So there is a next level of certifications, which is FCSS. Now, this is for the specialist, as the name itself is state, Fortinet Certified Solution is Specialist. Now, in this FCSS, there is a domain called Network Security, where it is required to have firewall examination. Here, the name what you're seeing, this is a core examination, what you need to crack. Okay, so this is the core examination. So now this, if you will see the content of this, okay, see the topics, what it wants you to learn. Same thing, right? System configurations of the firewall, same. VLAN clusters, BDOM concept, management of the Fortigate firewall. It wants you to learn about the security profiles. Like I said, UTM features, the same thing which we talked about before. And routing, same OSPF and BGP. And in the IPsec, you see IPsec and AD-VPN. AD-VPN is nothing but the hub and spoke, okay, which is also nothing but the form of an IPsec tunnel. That's all it wants you to learn, nothing else. Now the question is, then what's the difference between FCSS and FCP, right? If the topics are almost same, then what's the difference? The difference is in the depth of knowledge. Let me quote an example here. For an example, let's say, uh, Okay, let's take in this way. A traffic, you have done the firewall configuration, okay, and you have set up the DNS filter and the web filter. Okay, you have applied both the things onto the policy. Now, what you see is that a certain website fails to load because of DNS filter. Okay, now if you have the knowledge of FCP, that is this, the slide what you're seeing on the screen right now, if you have this knowledge, you will be able to navigate through your configuration to check what are the changes you need to do. You can see the logs in the GUI to know that why the packet is getting dropped. When I say why, that means okay, this traffic is getting dropped because of DNS filter. Okay, that is what you will be able to do, and since you know the reason that okay, hey, this filter is dropping the traffic, so you can change the configuration as per your requirement. That's what you can do. But if you are FCSS certified, that means if we talk about this same content but with a different extent of knowledge, then you can exactly pinpoint why did the DNS filter drop the traffic but not the web filter. Okay, what exactly made the DNS filter to trigger and drop that traffic? You might have configured same domains in terms to block something, but instead of web, DNS is blocking it. Why? Or I am not intended to have the DNS filter blocking such a traffic, but it suddenly started dropping it. Why? Right? So you exactly have an full control and awareness about the inside functioning, the backend functioning of your firewall. Okay, so that is what the extent of knowledge what I was talking about. Okay, so this is what the FCSS requires from you, that you should know from inside out of your device. Okay, it's not just okay, hey, the packet has come and it has matched this policy or it is not matching with this policy. That's not the thing. How a packet is said to be matching a policy. You should be knowing each and everything. If a packet is coming, why it is not matching a specific session, why it is triggering a different session, why the session has been moved to the ephemeral state. Whatever the things is going in your firewall, you will be have knowledge about that, right? So that is what is needed in the FCSS. So I'm just giving you the basics of uh, the reason is like to give you an understanding what is the difference between FCP and FCSS. Now, since the topics are same, so it doesn't make sense that we will learn anything only from a scratch and leave it in the mid, right? It doesn't make sense. If we are starting something, we will finish it to the end, right? So whatever topic we are going to pick up, whatever that is, okay, we will be starting it from the basics and then we will move on gradually and build our concepts onto that. Now, that being said, let me now move to the next section telling how the batch is going to be taken by me. Now, I have a simple way to take the batch that is in 3 steps. First, build the concept. We will try to complete the concept with reference to the theory. I will tell you something. I will make that concepts sense to you. Okay, so those things should make sense to you. Once you agree with that concept, then we will try to prove that concept in the lab. That's the step 2. Okay, so the point is whatever we discuss, right, whatever I have told you that okay, hey, this works in this way. Now you do not have to believe me until unless I have shown you the same behavior in the lab, right? Because after all, we all have to agree with the logs, right? So that's what all matters. Why a customer will believe what I say. Hey, you are having a so and so problem. Okay, so I think this is the solution for you. So please try that. Why? Why I will try that? Are you taking a wild guess? Do you have sufficient logs with you which proves that this is the cause of the problem? How come did you design your action plan that I should do this? What if this will not work? Then like what is your next course of the plan? These are the common things which will come across while dealing with any of the customer or the cases that you might work on, right? So it's never tag words against the customer. That's not the case. It's not an argument. It is on the facts, on the stats, what I see on the logs. Okay, hey, based upon these logs, this is what I see. As per these logs, this is the understanding. Hence, this is the root cause of that problem. Hence, to fix this, we need to take so and so action. Now, if I go in this way, showing the logs to the customer, stating why I am asking you to take this action, he will not rebuttal back, right? So he will accept what I say, and that will also help me to build a very good trust relationship with the customer, right? So after all, the facts matter, the logs matter. And this same way, this is why I'm saying that whatever concept we are going to do in the theory, we will replicate the same thing in the lab. What we see in the lab, we will believe that. What we do not see in the lab, do not believe that. Nothing. Step third, use case. If we learn something, there must be a use case for it, right? Where I will apply that. See, we all know about, let me take a simple example. We all know about a NAT. What is NAT? IP to IP translation, port to port translation, right? What you are here to learn for? Are you here to learn that, okay, IP to IP translation is called NAT? No. But if I give you an deployment scenario, okay, hey, I have LAN users connected to a cluster switch. Switch is pointing to a router. Router is pointing to an MPLS. MPLS is pointing towards an distribution level switch, and then it is going to the edge firewall. And the edge firewall is now sending the traffic to the ISP. So the ask from the customer is where I should apply the NAT and why. Where I should configure the NAT. On the layer 3 switch, on the MPLS routers, on the edge firewall, where and why? Do you know that? So that is what we are here to learn for, right? So of course, we will cover the basic. I'm not saying that we will not cover the basic that, okay, hey, what is NAT? IP to IP translation. We will, but we have to make use of that in the real scenarios as well, right? So that's the step third. Okay. So let me summarize that. Theory concept proven in the lab. Second, third, use case. Okay, so where and how you have to apply those logics. So that's how we are going to proceed in this batch through each and every concept. Okay, so before I proceed further, is there any doubt, concern in terms of the content of the topics or the batch?
So I have a question, sir.
Yes,
Good
please.
evening, everyone.
Yeah.
Sorry, I joined in late, sir. So I didn't get your name the first time, sir. Sorry.
Rohan.
Rohan, sir, I have a question now. So you're going to the training that you're going to give us, that is, if everyone starts to jump in for the course. So would it be an open syllabus that you're going to teach us, or you're going to teach us strictly according to your methodology, your training course module, or network King's course module and training? And my second question is, are you going to train us in such a way that will be on would be more on a theoretical basis along with practicals, strictly with certificate base, or would it be more live base, or would it be a balance of both? And I believe it's not a weekend, right? It's a weekday, and the time
Weekday.
schedule, so
Yes. Yeah,
these
weekday.
ones.
Okay, fine. So let me answer your first question first, that the pattern of the course will be what? Is it with reference to the networkings, or as per what I decide or something? So it's not like that. It is as per the Fortinet certification module. The things what you're seeing on the screen, what our certification wants you to cover, that is what we are going to cover. Okay, so it's not the networkings module, it's actually what the Fortinet ask from you to have the awareness about. Okay, now coming to the second point, that is the batch learning is going to be more aligned towards the theoretical knowledge or towards the
Real
production
life
based real time deployment kind of an knowledge?
troubleshooting basis.
Then
Yes,
the
sir.
answer is production, real time. Because at the end of the day, whether you crack the examination or not, certification or not, to be honest,
Yes,
And
sir.
I'm saying this as statement in terms of what it's like I mentioned that I'm myself am part of this paternity, right? So
Yes, sir.
it doesn't matter whether you have the certification or not. The only thing counts is your skill set, right? So if you are not able to apply, troubleshoot the problems in the real time, then your all the efforts went into vain, including mine, right? So
Yes, sir.
if you're done with this batch, you should be confident enough, like I've mentioned at the start of this demo only, which you might have missed, that at the end of the batch, you will be able to tackle any issues that is linked to your FortiGate firewall
You mean on a real life basis? No,
on the
how
real life
many?
basis.
Yes, sir. Or how many? It's not only deployment mode on the production lineup, but also on a troubleshooting basis. Whatever we
Yes,
face
troubleshooting.
in the
T-shoot
real world
is the
environment.
key here. T-shoot is the key. See, troubleshooting. Let me give you a zest what I intend to do deliver here. Let's say, for example, a simple problem which all of you might have heard of is a customer rings to your desk and he says, "Hey, I'm my some of the users are not able to access or reach to a certain destination." Okay,
Yes,
maybe
sir.
that some website or something. Okay, so he's calling you for that and he wants you to fix that problem. So what will be your approach in like that case? Someone would say, okay, hey, I will verify the configuration, I will like check the DNS, I will check, I will like try to ping ISP to check whether the internet is working or not. Or you might have several other reasons where you will start with, right? Okay,
Yes, sir.
now the point is, if you are going in this way, if whatever I have just said made sense to you right now, that means you are in the wrong path. You should never start. See, the simple question is now, why you are checking DNS? You wanted me to ping the ISP. Why? Did I said that I have a complete outage? No, right? I'm saying some of the users. I did not say all of my users, right? I said some of the users is not able to reach some websites. So why you are pinging ISP?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense, right? Okay,
Sir.
you are checking the DNS, right? For
Yes, sir.
what?
Correct.
For some of the users? For some of the users, you are like checking the DNS. That might be a good start, but why didn't you check that? It's like why you're checking for the DNS, not the cache or something. The point is, what I'm trying to say is, see,
Mhm.
if I say something, there must be an action plan in my mind that, okay, hey, this is what I'm going to do, step 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, right?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so it's all about the mindset, and I have mentioned this in my all the batches. Let me mention this in demo also.
Yes, sir.
Being a tech, if you think that your job is to fix the problem, is to solve the problem, you are doing a biggest blunder there. Your job is not to solve the problem. Come out of that mindset. Your job is to narrow down the problem. I can give you 50 reasons why your VPN could have flagged. 50
Okay.
reasons. My job is to not fix that problem. My job is to narrow down that problem, that what a specific caused that issue in that specific customer setup, right?
Okay.
VPN could have flagged for customer A, customer B. The issue is same, but the reasons may vary. Customer A, VPN could have flagged because of DPD. Customer B could have seen the same issue because of a SPI mismatch. Who knows, right? Right? So the
Yes.
point is, my job is to not fix that. My job is to narrow down, because once I narrow down the problem, then the solution will automatically follow. Because if I know that, okay, hey, the problem is with the DPD, then I will try to toggle with that on demand and the idle option. If I know that the problem is with the SPI, then I will try to play with the keys, right?
Okay.
I will like try to play with the, or check the compatibility matrix with like reference to the devices between which the VPN is getting formed. So my troubleshooting will move in that direction, correct?
Okay.
So now the point is, how someone can narrow down a problem, since there are number of reasons, right? Why a user could not be able to reach to a google.com. There can be 100 reasons for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, how would I know? How would I be capable to narrow down that issue? Only thing that will help you is your basics, nothing else. Basics. If you know that when I opened my browser, I typed google.com, and when I pressed enter, what happened? What
Pose
did my
it.
laptop did? Right?
Yes, sir.
Do I know that? If you know that, that's the starting point where you will start your troubleshooting from.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So you should always now see this is why it may sound a lengthy, but believe me, hip hopping on the cases is worse, because you may end up solving the problem in 5 minutes or maybe in 5 months. No guarantees. But if you follow a pattern that is from point A to the point Z,
Yes, sir.
you will end up solving the problem on an average in a much quicker way as compared to any other tag in your team. And
So
take it from someone who is in this industry from past 13 years.
yes, sir. Appreciate it, sir. So I have a couple of questions now piled up for you, sir. You
Mhm.
seem very wise person, many years of experience. So I used to work in a production company. I live in Switzerland. I worked in a production company before, and they had a problem with the access point, sir, with the Cisco access point router, sir. And they used to hover around Cisco Fortigate, sorry, Fortigate firewalls, and then they had a problem. One time I watched that this network specialist guy was trying to troubleshoot a step where some of the users in the production company, they were having a problem with their IoT devices, trying to latch on to the access point routers, Cisco routers. And every time, at least once in 3 months or once in 6 months, every time I had to go and I had to always do a hard reset. So that is by climbing the ladder up to the wall and then doing a hard physical reset. So that was probably the go-to Mayday situation because the production company should be working. Now, so the second thing is that not everyone was struggling, but then some of them, it looked like 10, 20 users were struggling. And this network specialist guy told me, do this one because that's the last option that you have to go for. I don't know what he did before, but I believe that if I would be in that person's shoe, I would first see if it's a couple of laptops or computers that is struggling, not everyone. I would try to hold on to that particular laptop and try to run a Wireshark packet analysis and see where the is the packet really delivering from that particular device, IoT device, which is struggling. Not everyone, but some of them. So this is the first go-to troubleshooting step that I would have gone. I was a system admin. I was not a network specialist at that time. So I don't know what magic he did at that time. But then as a last option, he told me, Sultan, do me a favor, go all the way across to the production lineup and do a physical hard reboot. And that's how they pretty much solved it. And now, so what happening is that companies over here, so they're pushing for a mishmash, so mixing up. They're trying to mix up with Huawei and Palo Alto also. They're doing a mixture, sir. So when we crack this Fortinet, that is, if I happen to jump in along with every other girls and guys, what happens then, sir? Are we equally knowledgeable enough when we? Because right now it's a hybrid environment everywhere. So are we knowledgeable enough to tackle when their companies are having Palo Alto instead of 48, and then the company says you should be able to crack it? Would we be able to crack it if we have Palo Alto or a mixture of both 40 and Palo Alto, and they're also pushing for Huawei and 40 combinations, sir? Are we knowledgeable enough, sir? Or we have to also crack these courses as well?
No, 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 no. Let me come to that point. And thank you for asking that. Now, see, the point is, it is true that we are now living in a world where you are bound to work with a multi-vendor setup. Okay, it is not that you will always see Fortinet or you will always see Cisco or you will always see Palo. You will see combination of two or three or maybe multi-vendor devices. Now,
Yes, sir.
that being said, do I need to cover each and every vendor learnings and all the devices that is there in my network? The answer is big no. Why? Because keep one thing in mind, no matter what the vendor is or no matter what the device you are looking at, all are bound to follow RFCS standard,
Oh,
meaning the TCP three-way handshake behavior or the mechanism of TCP congestion control or TCP flow control
yes,
will
sir.
never change irrespective of whatever vendor or the devices that the packet is going through, right? So if
Uh,
I am comfortable with the concept of TCP IP packet behaviors, if I know exactly what the IP header carries, what it means, what each and every fields stand with,
Yes, sir.
So it doesn't matter whether I'm looking at the FortiGate firewall Palo or it's a router or it's SD-WAN or it's an LB. It doesn't matter for me. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Now, I will not go in much more depth currently to answer this right now, because in this batch there will be a separate I think almost 3 to 4 hours of class, which I will be talking only about the mindset, how to shoot the problems. So there, just keep in mind what I've said right now. So this will make more sense to you when I will touch that during the batch. Okay,
Okay.
so there I will tell you why, it's like how to think of a concept in a vendor neutral way, not with reference to a vendor specific way. Okay,
Uh-huh. Okay.
so that will help you to navigate through your network needs. Okay,
Okay, sir.
now see here. So now the next thing is so I think everyone is clear with the course content of the FortiGate firewall, what we are going to cover, right?
Yes, sir. Just wanted to get more input on the SD-WAN topic. I think we have got the separate certification for the SD-WAN, isn't it? FCSS SD-WAN.
FCSS SD-WAN, there is a separate one, yes, but SD-WAN is also an optional examination in like one of this domain. But in terms of an FCSS, you have a different certification for the SD-WAN. Now, that being said, in this content, in the exam topics, what you just saw, there is not a mention of SD-WAN, right? Okay,
Yes.
but FortiGate firewall has inbuilt SD-WAN functionality. So we are going to cover SD-WAN. Okay. So
So
whatever SD-WAN
I
stands
was
for, we are going to cover that. Yes, please.
was just because it's the solution specialist. Just wanted to wonder, like, we're gonna cover the Forti manager and the design as well. So
No.
was just more wanted to know more about the
Okay.
as like provisioning templates and how we design them and to implement.
Okay, see, what we are going to cover in terms of the security fabric here, the name what you're seeing in this side, right? Do you see this? My
Yeah,
cursor? Security
yeah.
fabric. So security fabric is a feature in the FortiGate firewall which will help the firewall to integrate itself with any different or the same vendor devices. So there we will see that how we will set up the FortiGate firewall so that it can integrate with the AD servers, with the LDAP, with the Radius, with the Forti and analyzer, with the cloud, with the manager, or any other devices for that matter. Okay, but we will not be touching FAZ or FMG as a separate devices, because these all are separate devices. Okay, that is not in purview of the FortiGate. Okay, whatever is in the FortiGate is like, okay, hey, how I will configure my FortiGate firewall so that it can connect with the Forti analyzer. That is something which we will cover. But how does then FAZ works? That is not in the scope of this. Clear?
Okay. I think for the FCP, we have to choose either Forti manager or the Forti analyzer to for the exams, isn't it?
Secondary examination. You
So,
are talking
what's
about the optional, right?
yeah? What would be the primary exam for the FCP?
Primary exam is the FortiGate firewall.
For the FCP,
Yes,
okay.
FortiGate firewall.
Um,
That's the core examination, your main examination for that matter.
So what is the name of this certificate, sir, that we are preparing
This
for?
one. You are going to prepare for these three FCP and FCSS. Okay.
One more
Yes,
point. I just
please.
I have a question. In a SD-WAN, you are just provide the knowledge, a basic overview, or just expertise in the SD-WAN technology, whatever in available in the Fortinet firewall.
I was expecting this question. Now, uh, let me answer this in terms of a quotation here, and just bear with me, okay?
Sure.
Tell me one thing, okay? I want everyone to think and answer me honestly. You are someone who have learned Cisco router. Presume that. You have learned Cisco router, okay? Everything related to the routing concept and all you have learned in the Cisco router. Now, you are going to learn FortiGate firewall or the Cisco firewall or any firewall for that matter. Do you think that you will have any trouble learning the OSPF and like BGP, what is supported in the FortiGate firewall as what you have learned in the Cisco router? Does it make any difference there? No, no. BGP and OSPF are same. Whether what you have learned in the Cisco, that's the same thing what you will learn in the FortiGate. Yes or no?
Yes.
Now, second point. What is the difference between a router and the firewall? Both are
Only the
doing L3 functionalities, right? Both have policies, both are there to check the packets and like send the packet out. They are doing the routing, NATing, and clustering and all. So what is the difference between a Cisco router or a Cisco firewall? What is the difference between them?
So what is the software based, right?
Anything, software based, hardware based. What is the difference between a router and the firewall?
My understanding goes, firewalls are more software based, and routers is what is more physical based.
No, no,
Physically
Does
apart
configured.
from their appearance, I'm talking in terms of the functions.
it does the packet inspection and the intrusion
Yes,
prevention?
correct. Inspection of packets. That is what makes firewall stand out from the router. Router can only see the packets, headers and all. It will not be able to see the encrypted data, and it cannot speculate or it cannot see through the threats, and it is simply there to help a packet to reach from one point to the other. Whereas the firewall can do the same task, but he will look through the packet. He will look into the packets. And how it is able to do that? The only thing is makes it to do is the power of IPS. You give a router a power of an IPS, it is the firewall for you. That's why the next gen firewall definition as per the network domain is that a firewall is said to be a next gen if it supports IPS functionality. What is IPS? IPS is simply giving you the power to inspect the packets. That is what it does. So now coming to the third point. If I tell you this, you have fully control, you know about the routings and all, right? Now, if I give you the concept of inspection, the power of IPS, whatever it does, how it does, why it does, if you know all that, can I say that you have a full awareness about a firewall functioning?
No.
No. You know routing, you know clustering, you know now the IPS functionings also. So it means you know about the firewall, right? More or less. Correct, no? Now
right.
put the same analogy with the SD-WAN. See, the point is, actually, I would have talked about this during the SD-WAN topic, but let me give you a gist. What I try to imply here is, so that we all are on the same page. See, 6 years back, or hardly take 7 years back at max, no one heard about SD-WAN as a device, right? The entire world was working. Now there was Google, Microsoft, Facebook. We all were playing with the YouTubes and all that, right? The world was there. 7 years back, SD-WAN came into play. Why? What was the need? We had switches, we had routers, we have actually. We have firewalls, we have LBs, right? So combining these all, what was that problem which routers, switch, firewalls could not solve? Because unless there is a problem, there will be no solution in the market, right? So SD-WAN is a solution to address a certain problem. If I tell you that what is the problem and what is the solution that the SD-WAN brings, in the same fashion that why I need a firewall when I have a router. So there is a problem, and that to address that problem, solution is the firewall. Correct? In the same manner, to address a problem, the solution is the SD-WAN. So keep in mind when I say this, that while completing the FortiGate firewall has an inbuilt functionality of an SD-WAN. When we will cover all that, then you will be fully capable to work on any SD-WAN appliances because you know exactly why the SD-WAN is used for. What is the purpose? Clear? You pick
Yes.
up any SD-WAN device, you just pick it up, okay? And you just see what does it do. It also does the routing, it also establishes the VPNs, it also forms the cluster, it also does the policies, NATing, DLPs actions, right? Inspection also it is capable to do, but that is what not the SD-WAN was designed for. We have routers for that. We have firewalls for that. SD-WAN essence is a different thing. So we just need to know that. So while we learn the firewall and when we will combine the SD-WAN concept, that will cover your SD-WAN as a whole device as well. Okay.
So I have a question, sir.
Yes, please.
There's so many types of routers in the world. The Fortinet router, I mean, can I say Fortinet router or should I say Fortigate
Yes,
router?
Fortinet router is the right word. Yes.
So the Fortinet router, on which spectrum or on which category does it lie? Does it rely on the edge routers? Does it rely on the wireless router? Does it rely on
That
the wired
depends.
router?
That like depends wherever you want to deploy. If you want to deploy it as an edge, you can do that. You can deploy it as a distribution or the core. That depends upon the topology structure and the amount of traffic that you are expecting your router to handle. Okay, so that will make that decision that where you want to deploy the router. But the
Ah,
router doesn't matter where it is deployed. It is supposed to do the job of forwarding the packets, which it is, it's like which it will be doing whether at the core level, distribution level, or at the edge level.
okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Now,
It's in, okay.
now see here. Now coming to the uh, timing, I think you might have been notified as well by Gaurav that this batch is going to be a weekday batch from Monday to Friday. And the classes timing will be from 9 p.m. IST to 11 p.m. IST, 2 hours minimum. The pace of the batch will be entirely dependent upon you people. You will decide how speedy or how slowly we have to proceed. That's up to you. Okay, so there is no deadline for that. But if you ask that what is the average time that would be needed in order to complete this batch, so the answer would be I would need an average of 50 hours, okay, 50 to complete the entire firewall for that matter. Okay, but like I said, it's not bounded. This is the average based upon whatever batches that has been commenced previously. So this is an average hours that we need to complete firewall. Okay.
Rohan, sir, I have a question, sir.
Mhm.
Uh, the question is, if I happen not to make it this time, because I already have a CCNA batch, I'm already entangled with CCNA batch on the other side with networkings,
So not a
and
problem.
yes, sir, and I got a kid coming up, a second kid in the house. So the thing is that, sir, I got a lot of obligations, personal as well as I have to also make a day living. So is it that you're gonna take a breather after this session or after this training session with this batch, or you're gonna come back after straight away the next session classes, sir? How is it, sir?
See, when the actual day one class will be starting, that is something which like Gaurav will confirm. Okay. But
Okay.
as far as the classes nature is going on, is like every class is going to be recorded and it will be posted on your student portal for your review. Okay. So you can visit that recorded video anytime whenever you have the sufficient bandwidth to go through the videos. You just
Guys,
learn it at your
like
own
if
pace.
in case you don't have a times to join the classes now, you can join a next batch also, guys. That's not the
Huh.
problem because
That is
like
also
after
good.
finishing this batch, within a 7 days, we'll start a new batch on weekdays and as well as on the weekend.
Ha,
Will I get
that's
the same trainer? Thank you, sir. Will I get the same
Yeah,
trainer, or
yeah,
you
I have
will?
only one trainer for Fortinet. He's teaching from last 3 4 years, and we got a good review, good feedback. So don't worry, guys. If you're learning firewalls, whatever comes under firewalls, you got to know in in this particular batch.
Okay, thank you, sir. Because every teacher has got their own learning style, teaching style, sir. That's why. Thank you,
Mhm.
sir.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Hello,
So,
Rohan sir.
yes, yes,
Actually,
please.
hello.
Yes, tell me.
Actually, I want to know the training based on CLI or GUI base?
Both.
Both.
Troubleshooting of the FortiGate firewall is going to be mostly on the CLI, mostly. Okay.
Okay.
So it is combination of both. I will be showing you both. Whatever suits your style, feel free to use that. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So now since we are clear with the things around the batches and all, so now I would like to talk about why FortiGate. Okay, why you should go with the FortiGate firewall, where we have multiple vendors who are competing and who are equally good as FortiGate firewall, right? So why the FortiGate? Okay, so in order to prove that or like to tell you that, just give me a moment. Gaurav, can we stop live streaming if it is not needed?